Greetings! This is Captain Henson, and today we will be discussing Star Wars The Bad Batch, Episode 14, War-Mantle. With me today is...
Jedi Knight Luke. Let's do this.
Alright, so first off, the quick summary.
So, War-Mantle is pretty much a completely standalone episode. It's not necessarily a direct follow-on from what happened in Infested. We get reintroduced to a familiar face from TCW, that being Republic Commando Gregor, who is being held captive by the Empire, and Rex contacts the Bad Batch and lets them know that Gregor is in need of their help.
Alright, so let's go through the major points.
So we'll kick off with the opening scene, Gregor running from the hounds and the stormtroopers that were looking for him.
Yeah, pretty nice chase scene. Of course, at this point, we don't know who this clone is, but, again, really good chase, really,
Suspenseful?
Yes.
Though, despite Gregor's best efforts, he is eventually caught. Then we transition to the Bad Batch in hyperspace, when a surprise transmission comes through, and it's from, guess who? Captain Rex.
You know, I am curious to know, when exactly did Rex get into a relationship with Gregor? It's one of those things where we still need to see how we got from him sacrificing himself in TCW to him somehow rejoining the Republic. There's still a lost mission, if you will, so we still need to see that.
Also, am I the only one who finds it incredibly odd that Rex coins Gregor to the Bad Batch as an old friend of his when they never once met in TCW?
And I would say when they would have met, it would have been close to the end of the war, unless they knew each other early on in the war, which could be possible, but again, we don't have enough information to really say.
Personally, I think if Gregor and Rex knew each other from early on in the Clone Wars, that question would have been answered by now.
Maybe, but this is Filoni we're talking about.
Point is, Rex asks the Bad Batch to free Gregor from the Empire's imprisonment on Darrow, I believe the planet was called. But along the way, there's a bit of a moral versus personal benefit dilemma, because they were on a job for Sid at the time, and Tech makes note of how Sid doesn't particularly like, nor does she compensate for deviations from task.
Yeah, something this series, I think, has done really well is showing just how gray Star Wars is. Helping this clone who they don't know would be the right thing to do, but they need to survive.
That's highlighted here in this discussion, so just to reiterate the first point, Tech reminds Hunter that they're on a job for Sid, and that she doesn't like, nor is she willing to compensate for deviating from the task at hand. But Omega brings up the fact that Rex contacted us, and this old friend of his is in trouble. Saving a life is more important than us surviving off our own steam. And I think before either of those points, Ekko had said,
Ekko was very much on the side of, if Rex asks us to do something, then we do it, because we trust him.
And that makes sense, given that Ekko is technically a regular clone, and he served under Rex.
Yes.
And every time one of those points came up, Wrecker was like, Ekko makes a good point, Tech makes a good point, the kid has a good point.
Yeah, personalities are certainly on point.
And I think that discussion kind of highlights how Wrecker, with the greatest of respects to him, doesn't really have his own point of view on things. He seems to go off of what the others think.
I mean, it's very much an audience surrogate in this situation where we hear these characters making their own points, and of course, we would think that And we do think that they are all making good points, and we don't really know what to do based on what everyone is saying.
Ultimately, the Bad Batch choose to go forth with saving Gregor, but they're not 100% sure what they're dealing with.
Yep, essentially going in blind.
The Bad Batch arrive on Darrow and doing a little bit of spying into one of the hangars, they see basically an early version of the Stormtrooper armor. So the clone armor is, in a literal sense, being phased out here.
Yeah, and we're seeing another transition, or at least a prototype of the Stormtrooper armor.
And the helmets of this very early Stormtrooper armor design do retain a little bit of the Ralph McQuarrie influences that Rebels took for its Stormtrooper designs. And we also see completely fresh off the rack in terms of armor Republic Commandos.
Yeah, we see plenty of Commandos here.
And it's, in my opinion, extremely weird seeing Republic Commandos in pristine white armor.
What's weird is seeing how, even though there are a ton of Commandos, they all get their asses kicked pretty easily.
I could be wrong, but Henson, did you happen to spot one or two clone Commandos that had yellow accents on their armor? Like black and yellow? Because I'm pretty sure I did. I honestly thought that Scorch was present in the facility somewhere when I saw that, and I was thinking, wait, what is that, Scorch?
According to this article on CBR, as Gregor, the rescued prisoner, states, Delta Squad and the other clones were assigned to train the non-clone recruits as part of Project War-Mantle.
Oh, he really let himself go, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, certainly not great. I mean, at least Gregor is also a commando, but still.
Let's get on to talking about Gregor himself, because we see the foundation of his loopiness, so to speak.
Yeah, he's not as crazy as he is in Rebels, but he's certainly not completely there. He's not the same guy we saw in TCW, is what I'm saying.
He has started making humorous remarks in very inappropriate situations. For example, there's a point where Gregor says to the Bad Batch, the Empire is saying us clones are defective, but if you ask me, those who choose to fight for the Empire are the defective ones. You know, something like that. Now, don't get me wrong, I actually, in a sense, agree with that, but that was probably not the most appropriate thing to say at that given moment. Another one would be after the moment where Gregor has been shot in the chest twice, and he's like, I survived being blown up, I can survive this no problem. Which, whilst that does turn out to be true...
Yeah, we still need to actually see that, though.
Oh yeah, the survival. Next point would be as Hunter, Tech, and Ekko get out onto the cliffside of the facility, like they come out of one of the exits, and Hunter contacts the Bad Batch's shuttle where he instructed Wrecker and Omega to wait earlier on in the episode, and Omega has a go at flying the ship. And would you say she did a fair job, given that it was very much a learning the heat of things situation?
I would say so. And essentially, it all just ends up with Hunter getting captured.
After the moment of Hunter being surrounded by hounds and troopers, we get a moment with the remaining troopers in Crosshair's personal unit, Nala Se, Lamasu, and Admiral Rampart. Earlier on in the episode, Nala had been escorting a group of cadets off-world, which was later found out, and she was captured, and Lama Su was like, a proper punishment will be dealt out for this.
And earlier in the episode, he had told her to plan on getting all the Kaminoans off planet because he knew that, the Empire was gonna deal with them eventually. She's found out, but as Rampart says, the Empire needs scientists, not politicians, so...
It's pretty likely that Lamasu is going to be a corpse by the next episode.
And we get a reunion, finally.
So Hunter was just sitting in his cell, and a few seconds into the scene, Crosshair decides to pay Hunter a visit. And Hunter just says, "I wondered if you'd show up." Crosshair takes off his helmet and says, "I was hoping for the whole squad, but you'll do." And they sort of give each other a look.
And I would say, given that we have 2 episodes left, so this is going to be what the last 2 episodes are going to be about.
So I guess I was wrong in trying to determine the meaning behind Crosshair's facial expression at the end of episode 12, because I get the impression that he hasn't the faintest hint of restraint in the back of his mind about what he intends to do to Hunter.
Well, have to wait and see. I'd say overall, this was a really good episode. Glad to see Gregor back, even if I would rather see him surviving the explosion. But I'm also going to say, I'm pretty sure I called it. Seeing Rex gather up Gregor and Wolf and eventually lead into Rebels. I don't think we'll see Wolf this season.
No.
If we get another season, it'll be next season. But, nice to see Commandos again, even if they were neutered.
Okay.
But left us on a pretty good cliffhanger, and I can't wait to see what the next 2 episodes bring.
This episode was definitely the most tense Bad Batch episode yet. We got some really cool stuff here. Seeing Gregor come back, as Henson already said, the appearance of fresh off the rack Republic Commandos. The thing with Rampart, Nalase, and Lamasu at the end, I guess we'll see the results of that in the next episode, maybe? Even if the implications are pretty damn clear. And what's going to happen between Hunter and Crosshair in the next episode? Oh, you've got me right on the edge of my seat, Bad Batch. Come on.
And with that, we come to the end of yet another podcast. With me today has been...
Jedi Knight Luke signing off. May the Force be with you, everyone.
And of course, the always fantastic and overtly talented Captain Henson. See you all next time.